the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. #1 best-selling author, host of the Smart Money Happy Hour, co-host of Smart Money Happy Hour, Rachel Cruz, Ramsey personality. My daughter is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225, 888-825-5225. Olivia starts off this hour in Columbia, South Carolina. Hi, Olivia. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Sure. What's up?
So I get like a separate line item on my paycheck for $600 for a car allowance every month. I have to have a car newer than 5 years. I've been pushing it to I'm on year 7, and they're just now saying, like, you need a new car. So I'm trying to decide if I should just, like, say, never mind, don't give it to me anymore because we've been throwing it at our debt because we're in baby step 2. We're going to be done either in a month or December. Or should we sell my husband's truck because he has a work car that you can use for personal use. It's in his contract. It's totally fine. And then buy a new car with, like, the rest of that, or I just don't know what to do.
Well, you don't have to buy a new car, just a newer car, correct?
Yeah, newer than 5 years to keep that, or is it even worth it? I have a great 2016 Honda Civic.
Because if you keep the car, what ends up your employer
she loses $600 a month, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, and the gas card, which would kind of suck because I use about $300 a month in gas for my job.
Oh, so it's $900.
Yeah, if you think about it, because my gas is free for all my business use. I fill it up personally, though.
Okay, so that's, what, $11,500 a year?
Yes.
And what would it cost you to move up in car 3 years so that you're 1 year inside of you got a 4-year-old car?
Oh, probably 15 or 20,000.
No. Have you even looked?
No, because I was just thinking I was just going to forego it.
No, I think you're going to do it. I think you're going to do it. I think you're going to. I think you're. What will your husband's truck sell for?
30 on Kelley Blue Books.
Oh, okay.
And it's paid for.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we just have the one student loan left.
And your student loan's how much?
17, the last one.
And your household income's what?
140.
Wow. Okay. You guys are doing great, Olivia. You're doing
Thanks.
great.
We're like, someone gave us your.
Yeah. So 11. I'm just doing math. $11,000 a year, or not. Okay. So if we sell the truck and pay off the student loan and use the remaining money and sell your car and move up a little bit in car, we get an extra $11,000 a year, and we're out of debt.
And he needs a car, though.
No, he's got a car.
Yeah.
He's got a company car he's allowed to drive.
Yeah,
Oh,
he can
that's right.
drive it out wherever he wants to.
Yeah.
I'm doing that, Olivia.
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
plan. I'm gonna dump his truck, take out the student loan, put the other 13 with your car. You don't have to spend it all on a car, but move up in car, a little bit, enough to get back in this, because they're basically saying we're going to pay you $11,000. So if you move up $11,000 in car, you broke even the first year on that.
Okay.
So I think this is a keeper. It's and that's not. And by the way, what they are asking you to do is not unusual. Most car allowances do have a mileage and a year model floor. They will not let you go below, and they've let you get away with it for 2 years. Because and it's not because they're stupid. It's just because they've run some statistical analysis, and if they're going to pay for your car, they don't want you in a hoopty that's breaking down because you're supposed to get to work.
Okay.
That's what the purpose of that is. It's not random. So yeah, it's not a bad gig, and you're driving a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm like working with right at 200,000 miles right now.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So whatever you don't want to move up too much in car because you're a road warrior. So whatever you drive, you destroy its value with the mileage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to move up to a 3-year-old. What are you said you're driving a Honda what?
A Civic.
Yeah. Move up to a 3-year-old Civic. Whatever the difference is in that and yours, you should be able to pay that out of what's left over after paying off student loan from selling the truck.
How much can you sell yours for, Olivia?
When I did the Kelly Blue Books, it was like $3,500.
Yeah. Okay. And I think 13 with 3,500 will get you up to where I'm talking about.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well
Thanks,
done.
Olivia.
Yeah, she's on it. Hey,
It is. I had a girl on my, I did an Instagram live with the car mom. It's a girl, she's a young mom, and she's built this huge following because she goes in as a mom and goes and walks through all these cars, right? Like she gives you tours of cars and this whole thing.
car mom is a car expert.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, she grew up, her dad owns a car dealership. So she
Okay.
grew up around cars.
That's
and so
cool.
she's like kind of taking this on, and it's and she's like got this great following and everything. So
Good for her.
But we were talking about used cars, but she was still saying, like, with repos being high and because people taking out loans on new cars, still the used car market is like, it's still on fire. She was like, it is still so difficult. And so just as a word out there for people, if you know you have to replace your car in the next 6 months, start searching now. Like, start actually doing the research, looking, saving, and all of it, because
And don't get in a panic.
yes, be prepared, because it's still it's still
It's
pricey
not
out there.
like it was, but it is. It's
No,
not,
it's not like they
It's
were,
not
like,
back to
making
the
money.
car. The market is not flooded with used cars either. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah, still.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very fun. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Now, traditionally, not counting the burp in the market after COVID supply chain stuff, okay? When the Mississippi ran backwards and used cars went up in value, okay? I mean, this was a weird moment in history and an anomaly statistically, okay? So not counting that, the new car market has traditionally lost 70 to 80% of its value in the first 4 years. And so they go down in value like a rock. That's where Chevy got that, like a rock, okay? And so, and I'm a Chevy guy, so it's okay. And Ford's no better. It's found on the road depreciated. So there you go. And they all, if it has wheels, it has a motor, has a battery, it's going down in value. Now, what we're saying is there was a period of time where it actually went up for a short period of time. Prices went up. Everything went backwards in COVID for a minute there. Remember that? And then now we're back to more normal, but it hadn't cooled completely off is what you're saying.
Yeah. And I was looking at some stuff even online just after we talked, and I was like, oh, yeah. Like, I mean, you can find stuff, but it's really difficult. But also the encouraging thing is cars today. She was like, cars that have 200,000 miles, they're not breaking down. Those are good quality cars. So that's another good thing, is that they last you so much longer than they used to.
Yeah, they don't build them like they used to. Thank God.
Good.
Thank God.
That's right.
Yeah, these actually have disc brakes and stuff. You know what I mean? Good gosh. Wow. I got a 1960 Corvette. You can't stop that thing in a 10-acre field. I mean, you just kind of have to let it coast to a stop. It's unbelievable. Cute. Very nice to drive around, a little antique, but whoa. The new one is a lot better. This is the Ramsey Show. If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Go to Blinds.com now and save 40% off selected products. Visit Blinds.com today for more info. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Chris is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Chris. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
I'll get right to it. Me and my wife recently started a side business. We both work full-time and kind of looking to pay off a ton of consumer debt and realize you can only save so much. So we started the side business, dog sitting, with the intentions of paying off the consumer debt. And spoke with my accountant last year, and he suggested putting my two children kind of on payroll, right, and paying them to benefit, investing into their Roth IRA and maxing it out for them, because he suggested that, they don't pay taxes on that. So that now kind of threw me for a loop, and I think that's what we're going to plan on doing for this year. And my question is, we are pretty late to the game with investing for ourselves, right? And I wonder if it's foolish to do that for them. I just recently learned the power of compounding interest. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. They're 3 and 5. It just seems like a unique opportunity because we don't plan on doing this forever, really just to pay off the consumer debt. And we're not really struggling. We have a plan, to pay off the consumer debt. And if it takes a little bit longer, because we're paying our children and investing in a Roth IRA, it seems okay.
Chris, I'm an IRS auditor, and I'm sitting in front of you, and you paid your 3-year-old to do work. I'm not believing that the 3-year-old did any work, and I'm going to undo everything you did in the audit. You're going to lose. Your accountant is a moron. You have to be able to
be working.
If the child is actually working, you can pay them the market value for their work. But you can't make a case that a 3-year-old is actually working. Be struggling to say a 5-year-old. It happens to be walking dogs, so we can do this. Now, an exception would be, like I did have a client one time who had a baby who appeared in multiple diaper commercials and made serious bank. The baby was actually working. And so, we put that into an IRA for sure because of the power of compound interest. But what you have to be able to make the case that they were paid, like Rachel, for instance, at 14 years old, would go and do a 3-minute talk on the stage of why it's tough to be Dave Ramsey's daughter.
It was like 8 minutes.
What?
It was like 8 minutes.
8 minutes? Okay. I'm sorry.
We would work the events, though.
Anyway,
after that,
it was not 8 hours. It was a few minutes, okay? And then she would go work the book tables, and I would pay her a percentage of what the kids' books sold at the book tables back then. And she's a teenager. And it was a healthy percentage, but I didn't pay her $100,000 a year. You couldn't justify that to an auditor. You follow me? So, I mean, I think... you can't do that.
The dog sitting, I mean, it really is. It's not, feed the dogs, watch the dogs, play with the dogs. A lot of
3-year-olds are not allowed to work.
Okay.
I mean, really. Just use some common sense. Okay?
Yeah.
What would you actually, if you ran a business, would you actually hire the neighborhood 3-year-old to go over? No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, good
I
point.
might hire the neighborhood 8-year-old to help me, and there's a market value to that doing dog sitting, okay? And you can actually make a common sense case for that.
Yeah.
But the 3-year-old's still barely potty trained. Oh, my God. And now we're trying to potty train dogs. No. This doesn't work. So, so your accountant is willing to set you up for losing an audit, which is why I'm saying I don't think you need this accountant
And Chris,
anymore.
and here's the deal too. Even if you wait until they're 8, 10, 12, 14 years old to start this process, they're going to be fine. Like, they're going to be fine. You don't have to start at 3, so you can do this in a morally legal way eventually.
No,
that's great. Yeah. What?
He's saying that he's going to not do the dog sitting thing after he gets out of debt. So it's not, the opportunity's not going to be there.
No, I'm just saying in general, though.
In
general,
they
can go and y'all could start something or whatever life looks like when they actually are able to contribute, and it's not like you're kind of
And you don't need to be behind on your investing. When I did this for our 3 kids, you have to file a tax return on the kid, and there is some taxes due. Okay, there's no income tax due, but they're going to get hit with FICA and self-employed income. And so each one of them, I filed a tax return. I looked at their actual income. I had to make sure it was market value or slightly above market value for the duty that they were performing. And I filed a tax return. I paid the taxes. They kept the money that they earned, and I put the equivalent amount into a Roth IRA on their behalf. All of them were teenagers by the time we were doing that.
Yeah.
And, or thereabouts. I mean, Daniel might have been 12, or something. But I mean, they were, you had a justifiable case. And we were at baby step 7, and my investments were okay. I didn't do this kind of stuff, and then I'm going to retire broke, but my kid has a 16-year-old has an IRA. No.
Right. Yeah, it's a balance. And again, Chris, I think the urgency that you're feeling is, he just said, he was like, I just learned about compound interest.
Yeah,
and oh my
it's
gosh.
exciting.
Yeah, so there is an urgency. And I think, again, the heart behind it's incredible. Absolutely. And to be able to set our kids up really well. And there's time to do that, is what I would say. Mm-hmm. So don't let this urgency of this new information make you make bad decisions and lead you into something that's just not wise. How often do they audit?
Well, I mean, if the thing is, the point is not, are you going to get beaten?
No, I know. There's like a moral thing here, but when you said that, I was like, man, I wonder how often,
Well, you have to be able to defend everything you do in an audit, or you shouldn't be doing it.
Yes, totally.
Okay, so
totally.
it's not only proper tax process, but it's also the moral and ethical thing to do.
Totally.
Okay?
Yes, for sure.
Like we've just finished this unbelievable 2.5-year audit, just similar to an anal exam at Ramsey. And so, but we have paid every stinking dime that we've ever owed. And so we've not lost a single category, not a single category. And they've turned over everything in this building, But we're fanatics about paying the exact amount.
Being honest.
Every bit of cash we collect is taxable income. We don't have any side gigs going. It's very traceable. And it has nothing to do with I like taxes or I think taxes are wonderful or it's my way of being generous. It's not. Taxes are extortion. They're theft by your government. They're horrible. I hate them. I hate the IRS. But it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with my integrity. Mm-hmm. It doesn't say anything about them when I cheat on my taxes. It says something about me. And so, Chris, that's not aiming at you, but that's just a further soapbox on this whole thing. So, good motivation, bad information, good thoughts, bad timing. So later on, when you're at baby step 7 and your retirement's underway, and you can do justifiable market value labor for your kid, like if your kid is 16 in a few years, and they got this wonderful dog sitting business that they spring up because mom and dad used to do it, and they go make a bunch of money, you could do what I did with our kids, and it'd be perfectly fine, no issues there at all. And you'd be teaching them entrepreneurism in their teens, which is a great idea. So that's the kind of thing you're looking for. Bad timing, though. You can't, unless the 3-year-old's in a diaper commercial, 3-year-olds don't have a market
pull-up
value.
Commercial.
Pull-ups. Okay.
At 3.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, that's good.
We're in the middle of that. We have a 3.5-year-old. And I thought, you don't want Charles watching your dog. Now, Amelia, the 8-year-old.
Oh, yeah. She would be she's pretty.
She knows how to take care of June better than I do. I mean, she's
pretty much game on. Yeah.
Phenomenal. But not the 3-year-old. No.
Well, I'm not going to say it. Okay. They're fun. They're fun. That's what we're going to say.
What were you going to say?
No, I would say it about all of them, not just that one.
Dave likes babies. Papa Dave wants babies. Once they hit 2.
When they're doing the pull-ups, it's just
Papa
that's
Dave's
somebody else's job.
I'm good.
That's completely somebody else's job.
Until you can ski.
And you're old enough to ski.
I have nothing to do with you.
There's a transition period there. This is the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dr. John Deloney here. I'm a huge fan of both meditation and prayer, and good mental health includes slowing down, gaining control of your thoughts, and plugging into something bigger than you. And Hallow makes it easy to start a daily practice of meditation, prayer, and finding peace. Hallow is the #1 Bible app in the world, and you can tailor content towards your faith tradition. From scripture readings and prayers to meditation and journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice prayer, meditate, and build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life and rediscover true peace. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today to get 3 months of Hallow for free. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Hey guys, we get people that tune into this show every day. You can even answer the questions faster than we can. No, fairly predictable answers, but yeah, I mean you can. And then you're still stressed out about money. Your money's still not working. How is that? Well, because knowing what to do is way different than actually doing it. I know not to eat a box of chocolate donuts. It's important, though, that I don't do it. Otherwise, I get larger and larger versions of Dave. And the proven way to change your behavior with money is the same thing. It's you have to get plugged into a program. Financial Peace University has helped over 10 million people get out of debt, become wealthy, and change their family trees. The class is the difference between trying to get in shape by yourself or reading a book on fitness versus actually going for a walk and backing off from the donuts. Hey, that's why this class has worked for millions. After 9 weeks, you'll never handle money the same way again, and you'll make progress faster than ever. Don't just listen to this stuff, this show. Do it. Join a Financial Peace University class at RamseySolutions.com/FPU. RamseySolutions.com/Financial Peace University, FPU. Ryan's in Tampa. Hey, Ryan, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave and Rachel. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my question is, should I sell my house? Should my wife and I sell our house to pay off our debt? A little bit of backstory is we're a family of 5, and we're currently living in a 2-1. And
a 2-1? Is that what you said? 2-bedroom, 1 bath?
Yes, we're in a 2-1. And we have $83,000 worth of debt, $130,000 in equity. So our thought process is, if we sell our house, we need a bigger house. We've got 3 kids. So, and our thought process is, if we sell our house, we can pay off the debt, have enough money for our emergency fund, because we're currently in baby step 2, and then rent for a couple years and just do baby step 3B.
How long have you been married?
8 years.
How long have you been in this house?
3 years.
How long have you been working this plan, this Ramsey stuff?
This Ramsey stuff? I've been Dave-ish we've been Dave-ish for a couple years.
No, when did you start actually getting so serious that you're willing to sell your house?
A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
How much do you guys make a year, Ryan?
$80,000.
$80,000. Okay.
Okay.
I'm nervous that the reason you want to sell the house is more because you don't like the house, not necessarily to change the behavior to get out of debt.
Yeah.
So this would be like a silver bullet that would just fix it all. But what I would be worried about, Ryan, is have you guys fixed your behavior? Have you guys created?
You don't have
felt the sacrifice of new habits and
you don't have that track
changed
record.
that course.
You don't have the track record of new habits. That's the danger. And if you wave this magic wand and your debt is gone, and you don't change your habits and you stay ish, because 2 whole weeks you've been engaged. I mean, come on, really. I mean, if the danger is you go back to ish, and then you're going to be a renter that's broke.
Right.
So yes, I would do your plan, but you know, you and your wife are going to have to put the kids to bed and take each other's hands and look at the other one deeply in the eyes and say, if we don't follow this plan exactly, I'm going to kill you. No, I mean, really, I mean, we have to do this. It has to get like down in your soul, like, because if you don't, this is a really bad idea. Because you're going to get stuck in renter land.
Right. Yeah, and we don't want that.
No, we don't want that. So mathematically, you do get a better place. I did what you're doing. Sharon and I did it when Rachel was a kid. Different reasons. We sold a home up in Nashville. The school system sucked, and we were driving 45 minutes one way twice a day. So several hours on the road to put kids in private schools, several $1,000s a year per kid. And I'm like, God, this is nuts. I can sell this, move to a different county where the public schools are excellent, rent, clear up everything, and I don't have the drive and I don't have the private school bill. And so that's what we did. But it was part of, and so everything worked good, but it's also part of a change. We rented this crappy rental for 2 years. My wife will still tell you stories about how bad she hated that house. And then we were able to buy a house, but it was part of a plan. It wasn't a trapdoor escape mechanism, and then I didn't deal with the deal with.
Right.
So you got to promise you. Your wife's got to promise you. Your wife's got to promise her. You got to promise her that we're going to lean in and stop the foolishness if you go through with this. I like your plan other than that. So Rachel's right.
Okay.
So if I give you Financial Peace University to get you guys going, will you promise me both of you watch every stinking lesson, every minute of every lesson, and you have a conversation with the coordinator and with the class, and you join the group in Financial Peace? If you promise me you'll do all that, I'll give it to you free.
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Okay. And you and your wife.
Yeah.
Now, because if you'll get in that group, you'll join this group of people that give you positive peer pressure to not do stupid or ish anymore. And that's what I'm afraid for you, because you don't have a track record. If you told me you've been doing this 6 or 8 months and you'd already paid off $30,000 worth of debt, making 80, and you guys were on a tight budget, and you and your wife were close-knit and unified, and we were getting after it, it'd make this call instant to go do what you're talking about doing.
And that's always the danger with, we even get people that get an inheritance, or they, some type of large amount of money comes into their possession, and they're able, which is a blessing, to be able to knock, the debt out. But again, Ryan, like you buckling down and really promising, and you guys are in a hard season with 3 little kids, and, it's a lot. And so you can't allow the stress of life, the exhaustion that you guys feel to get you back in habits that got you here in the first place. So truly staying the course is what's going to be huge. And it's exciting, right? And on the flip side, it's like, if that part is true, then you guys are going to be really far ahead in these steps, and you guys are going to you're going to feel a lot of freedom, which is really great.
And rent the cheapest thing you can rent that is a bigger, nicer house. It's not a 2-1 with 5 people. Okay, but don't go rent the Taj Mahal, because every dollar you spend on rent is going to slow down your savings for a purchase later. So the house we rented, I just explained to you, my wife was not happy with it. It was not glamorous. It was, the only thing it did is meet the goal of getting our other house sold and getting in the correct county where the kids could be in school system. And so that and we didn't have the private school bill, and we didn't have the drive anymore. So we got quality of life, we got money back, and our rent was not that high. Even back in the day. But back then, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, you could get cheap rent. But it's a thing. It's a process that you're resetting your mind in this thing, and it's just very important that you do this right. So, getting the habit patterns that are I made a comment about donuts earlier, and it's exactly true though on that. The correlation with fitness is, fitness is not a one-time event.
Yep.
It's a daily event of nutrition and caloric intake and calorie burned with exercise.
And choices that you make.
And choices.
With everything.
Controlling the person in your mirror. It's incremental. People who are vastly successful at their marriage didn't send flowers one time to their wife. They every day, every week do something in their marriage. It's not a singular event. You can't go be a jerk for forever and then go on one cruise and she's happy. That's not how this works. This is the Ramsey Show. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. If you want to know more about what's going on around here, get started. Click the Get Started button at RamseySolutions.com. It's a free little journey, and we'll help you get lined up and figure out what your next steps are. Ruby's in Louisiana. Hi, Ruby. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. So my husband and I, we've been together for about a decade now. I'm 25 years old, so we were high school sweethearts. I had kind of a rough childhood. I moved out whenever I was 16 years old, and a lot of the time I was financially responsible for myself from then. So the beginning of our relationship, I worked 3 jobs and he was in school, and a lot of the financial responsibility fell on to me, and I kind of had that control at 18 years old. I bought us a house. I bought and paid off a car that, he drove back and forth to work, just different things like that. I've always kind of been primarily the one who was responsible for the finances.
How long have you been married?
We've been married 5 years.
Okay.
Yes. With that being said, fast forward to now, we started having kids 3 years ago. My daughter's 3. And after we had children, I started staying home with the kids. And so, of course, he started working, and he makes great money now. And, he pays all of the bills, and he supports us financially. And I've just been I was struggling with mental health issues, and so it was hard for me to keep that control over the finances, so I kind of just relinquished that to him for the most part. And since then, don't get me wrong, we're still financially very responsible. We have a truck note and a mortgage. That's the only debt we have. We've never had a credit card, ever. We have no other debt, ever, other than a vehicle and our mortgage. But between, after having kids and now, I kind of just wasn't focused on the finances. I was focused on my children. And in that meantime, we kind of took a lot from savings, not just him, me as well. He was making such good money that we'd never made before, and we really just kind of indulged.
Right. How can we best help you today, Ruby?
Well, I guess what my question is, now that my kids are, kind of getting older, and I've been trying to get us back on board financially, trying to save money. I actually read your book when I was 18, 19 years old, and that, is what I was always doing, kind of going with those plans and trying to get us, financially debt-free. And it's just been a struggle between him and I. I think the dynamics are different. And I don't want to emasculate him because, I'm finding it difficult. I don't want to be controlling. I want a partnership. And it's just very hard to find a common ground now.
Yeah.
He works in a field where in the oil field where there's a lot of money.
Okay.
And he's,
So,
Got
Ruby,
it.
I would say a lot of what I'm hearing from you is there's a lot of motivation out of this that is pretty fear-based. You don't want to go back to how you grew up, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, what do I need to do to protect myself, and making sure that I'm okay, because I don't want to go back there. And in the meantime, it's kind of like you guys have just been existing. You guys don't have goals together. You don't have dreams of where you want to be as a family together. You guys probably don't do, I'm assuming, a monthly budget and sit down every month and look at the line items and say, hey, here's exactly what we're going to spend our money. It just seems like you guys are existing. And again, you had a baby, I get it. But also, there's just a better way to do it. And I think that's why you're calling, is because you're like, how do we do this? So I think one of the most important things is that you guys have to see each other as a team. And if you can't do that, then you guys need to ask the question, why? Is it because he doesn't want to, he's cautious towards you because maybe you're controlling, or maybe you're cautious towards him because you feel like he's irresponsible? I don't know what the fears or the concerns or the caution would be. But if there are those, say those out loud. Talk about those. But you guys need to sit down. And this is more of the tactical side, Ruby, but you guys need to sit down and say, hey, here is what we need to do month to month. Here is our budget. Together, regardless of gender, husband or wife, together we sit down, we both have a voice, and say, hey, here is where the money's going to go. And then I want you guys to sit down, Ruby, and say, hey, in the next 5 years, what are our goals? What do we want? Do we want this car paid off? If so, then let's start attacking that. And let's put extra money from the budget to do that. Do we want to take a trip in 2 years and we want to start saving towards that? Do we, start actually dreaming and living life together? It sounds like it's been so separate for so long. And even the tactical side, Ruby, sitting down and doing that is going to expose a lot of what's going on with you guys in marriage, in the good and the bad. And I think that it just ends up becoming a much deeper conversation when you start with something tactical, even like a monthly budget. So if you hold on the line, Ruby, Austin's going to pick up, because I want to give you guys not only Financial Peace University and you guys together go through this so you guys are on the same page, but also Every Dollar Plus. And this is our budgeting app, and it's phenomenal. My husband and I literally this morning had ours open on each of our phones, and we were talking through some stuff. So it is the most practical thing you can do with your money. And especially if you're married, you share an account and you guys together walk through this. But Ruby, I would really, I would really search yourself in a sense to figure out, okay, what is going on in me that's wanting this control? Where is this fear coming from? Because a lot of this is your motivation.
Austin, give him a copy of Rachel's latest #1 too. Know Yourself, Know Your Money. It talks about how you came up and how you grew up and the parents and how that affects handling money. So, yeah, Rachel hit it exactly on the head. You were doing all the right things in the early days with money, but you were doing them white-knuckling, gritting your teeth, holding your breath because of fear and because you didn't want to go back. And that's, from where you came from, that's perfectly valid. But what you're figuring out is that there's no peace in that. There is a peace in doing the exact same things you used to do with your husband, both of you talking about it and being in agreement and leaning it towards the future, and you're doing it out of a motivation of winning rather than a fear of losing, and that there's a richness to that of soul versus I'm just never going back there again. I mean, because you could become worth $10 million and not deal with the stuff you're talking about, and the only reason you became worth $10 million was just so you didn't go back to your childhood. Not a good motivation. I mean, you want more peace than that out of this process. And so, sorry for what you've been through, and I'm glad that you took away good things from it. You grew up early, you grew up quick, and you were able at 18 to do stuff I can't get 58-year-olds to do. So, because you were ahead of the game. But now, let's not do it from a white knuckle anymore. Let's do it from some peace and some future goals like Rachel's talking about there. And that's what's setting all of this up. And where you're coming from, any little thing he does that might look like fun or even slightly irresponsible is magnified 5,000 times beyond what it actually is. with the lens you're looking at it with. And and you know that intellectually. That's why you called, and the words you're using tell us you recognize that you're doing that. But it's okay to just say, hey, the reason I do that is, come man, I left home at 16. Hello.
Yep.
You know, I had to buy food.
And you're not going to demasculate him by speaking the truth and being involved either.
No.
Step into that and be confident in what you're thinking and feeling and all of it. And you guys together see yourselves like locked arms, and out there is the money issues, right? It's not in between you guys. You're not each other's enemy. The money issues are the enemy. So let's attack that instead of each other.
I think you're pretty cool, Ruby. I think you're going to win. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Rachel Cruz. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Rachel Cruz, #1 best-selling author, co-host of the Smart Money Happy Hour, Ramsey personality, and my daughter is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Shane starts this hour in Baltimore. Hi, Shane. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
All right. So I feel like I know the answer to this question, which I hate, but I wanted to hear from you. So I recently purchased a home from my grandmother who passed, and I knew it was essentially a steal to buy because I was going to get it way lower than it's actually valued at. So long story short, I have equity in the home, which is awesome. But I've been struggling internally to figure out if I should roll my credit card debt into that home, into the equity of the home, and then pay that off with gazelle intensity. I have $26,000 in debt, credit card debt, and I make $85 a year. So
You're single?
I'm single.
What's the answer to your question? You know it.
I know what it is. But it would free up $400 a month for me if I were to roll it. But it's funny. I tell my mom, I'm like, my problem is not the debt. My problem is that I'm not disciplined enough to knock it out. Like, why do I need to consolidate it into my equity? So.
And that answer is what, Shane?
I feel like I'm getting to a point where the answer is that I shouldn't do it. I know exactly what I should do. Yeah. I wanted to make sure it was the right thing to do. The thing that scares me is the interest rate.
Let's kind of back up for a second. Okay, $400 a month is not true. Okay, that's $4,800 a year. You're not saving that on $27,000 worth of debt in interest. The only way you're saving $400 a month is if you're going to be in debt longer.
Gotcha.
Which is absolutely not your goal.
No, it's not.
Okay. So you're just trying to dumb this down to make it easy, and it's not going to get easy. This is Band-Aid fast off versus Band-Aid slow off, and you get gangrene.
True that.
Gross.
Hey, Shane and I are okay, Rachel. You don't have to worry about it. If you don't want in, it's okay.
Just have like Google imaging. Oh, Shane. Okay, so what's the...
Here's the deal. Yeah, get fired up and lay it out. Lay out the math and go, what is it you make again, by the way?
85.
Okay, so 27. So you're by yourself. You don't have to talk anybody into this. You're how old?
29.
Okay, 1 year.
You really think I can do it in 1 year?
I'm positive you can do it in 1 year.
Gosh, I knew you were going to say this.
And here's the problem, Shane. You have no life for a whole year. All you're going to do is work and eat ramen noodles and pay debt. No going out, no eating out, no vacation. Work, and you're done in a year. See, this is only about $2,300 a month. And you're done in 1 year.
All right.
That's the way to do
Shane,
it, man.
what is the debt? The 26. I mean, I know it's credit card debt, but what was it? Was it just life? Was it?
It's life over about 8 years.
So that's what's going to be hard, Shane. Is it's not like this is just a car loan and you made one purchase that puts you in this. These are multiple decisions. You know what I mean? Over life, and you're used to living that kind of lifestyle of $26,000 above what you've been making. So it's going to feel even more sacrificial in a sense. So just as a heads up.
Here's the thing. If you'll do this, it'll make you a multimillionaire. And here's why it'll make you a multimillionaire. Here's why. Because anytime you get ready to be chaotic and sloppy and disorganized and slip back into credit card debt, you will remember the year from hell and you will not let yourself do it.
Dang.
But if you wander your butt, just kind of lollygagging along out of debt, you will wander back in.
Dang.
But if you have to pay a price, I mean, if you got the year from hell in your consciousness and you go, crap, no, I'm not buying that. There's no way. I'm not going a month without a budget. I remember where that put me before. Oh! And this is it's settled in your brain. It's settled in your body. It's settled in your spirit. And that's why I'm telling you to do it. It's not just because it gets you out of debt, and it's not just because it's absolutely the highest probability you will win. But what we're doing here is we're resetting the way you handle money for the rest of your life.
Yep.
And that's going to make you, you're only 27, it's going to make 29, it's going to make you $10 million. I mean, I promise you, the math says it. Because you know how to make money, and you've not been horrible with money. I mean, you're not like as bad as like Congress or something. I mean, you're not, you're not ridiculous. You only got $27,000, but it's just sloppy. It's like the enemy
That's
of the.
It's pretty intense. This is not to shame Shane, but like $26,000 in credit card debt from just life, though. Like it's going to be a shift, Shane. Like you got to hear that, but it needs to happen.
Like you said, it wasn't like this explosion of stupidity. It was gradual. Like you said, that's the truth. And so the danger of that is the enemy of excellence is not horrible. The enemy of excellence is okay.
Complacency. Yep.
It's, this is good enough. And we used to say this redneck saying, I don't know if they say this kind of stuff anymore, close enough for government work. Have you ever heard that one? Close enough for government work.
Nope.
Which means half butt do your job. Okay? That's what it means. In the neighborhood I grew up in. And so, it's mediocrity.
Yeah.
And so, Shane, you're fighting what all of America is fighting, this slip into mediocrity. And you've got the ability here to completely change that. And the cool thing is, you already knew every bit of it before you called here. Now all you got to do is go do it. I'm proud of you, man. Proud of you.
It's great, Shane.
I can't wait to do your debt-free scream with you in a year when you hate the old Shane so bad that you will never go back to him. And you were breaking up with him, never going back with him. And so we're going to be organized, diligent, have money budgeted for fun, money budgeted for luxuries, and we're going to go become very wealthy and outrageously generous. And that's in your future. You could be a millionaire in 10 years. You really can be from where you're sitting right now. You're in mainly because of headspace. Your headspace is excellent.
As long as the gangrene doesn't get them. Rip that Band-Aid off, Shane. It's so gross.
Watch out for the amputation. This is the Ramsey Show. Hey, folks, you know that sinking feeling when you make an offer on a house you love and then you hear there's another offer? You need the Churchill Mortgage Home Buyer Edge. Super fast pre-approval and a secured interest rate, plus a $5,000 seller guarantee gives your offer the best chance of being accepted. The Home Buyer Edge from Churchill gives you an advantage over those other guys. Go to churchillmortgage.com today to learn more. Every team that wins has a good offense and a good defense. Money's the same way. Offense is you get out of debt, you invest, and you're generous. Defense is insurance. You need good insurance. You need to protect your finances from the big emergencies. There's 10 kinds of insurance coverage you might need based on what your life looks like today. And we built a tool called the Coverage Checkup, which shows you the types you need to add, the junk you need to drop, and the adjustments you need to make. And we'll even rank your coverage list by importance, email it to you, and connect you to a Ramsey trusted insurance provider to help you get this new plan in place fast. None of it costs you a dime. Matter of fact, you're probably going to save some money as a result. Go to RamseySolutions.com/checkup, completely free. RamseySolutions.com/checkup. Do not let emergencies sneak up on you. Russ is with us in South Bend. Hi, Russ. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks so much. Dave, we are a young married couple in our early 70s, and we're financially free. And at this stage of life, we've got about $80,000 in cash. We've gone through Financial Peace University and designated the emergency fund out of that. But my question is twofold. What's the best thing to do with that money? Obviously, sitting in the bank is probably not the best thing to do. Mm-hmm. The second question is the goal of wealth realistic at this stage in our lives?
We have to define wealth, extreme wealth, unless you make really, really good money. No, because time is not on your side. But can we build a nice nest egg, a plump one? Sure. And of course that depends on a whole host of other factors and variables that you can control some of, and some of you can affect. But yeah. But I mean, 60,000 invested in good mutual funds, if it averages 10%, would double every 7 years. So it'd be, if you don't add anything to it. Mm-hmm. So it would be, if you're 70, it would, when you're 77, it would be 120, and if you're 84, it'd be 240, give or take. But I mean, that's pretty close. And that's if you don't add anything to it. Now, of course, you've got income, you've got other things going on, but $250,000 as a plump little nest egg in your early 80s is certainly better than a whole host of people.
Absolutely.
And, the neighborhood I grew up in, we called that rich, but it's probably not really rich, but yeah.
No, that's great. So mutual funds would be the way to go, in your opinion.
If you're going to leave your hands off of it, yeah. If you can leave your hands off of it. You have an emergency fund in addition, and you have income to live on?
Yeah, we both, we pull in about $60,000 a year, about 30 apiece. At this stage, I've got a financial stream from my old insurance business. I live on residuals and occasional referrals. She also is on Social Security, and she's working at an accounting firm, and she does a little part-time work for that. So this is semi-retirement for us, and there is income streams for both of us along that amount of money.
Good. Perfect. Excellent. Well done. Yeah, I mean, so you're secure, and so we can allow this money to grow. We might even be able to add a little bit to it as we go along, if you wanted to. There's no panic here. It's not like the house is on fire, but you've done a good. I mean, you set yourself up to where you should be able to prosper with that.
It's great, Russ. Yeah, absolutely.
Ashley's with us. Ashley's in Los Angeles. Hi, Ashley. How are you?
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. Huge fan.
Thank you.
My question is, my husband and I are on baby step 6. We had about $450,000 left on our mortgage, just under $1 million in equity. And my husband would like to take about $150,000 that we have in our savings to possibly invest that in real estate and in investments. And so my opinion is that we're $450,000 to completely being debt free, that we should continue to chip away at that mortgage payment rather than invest now. So we just aren't sure where to go from here.
Yeah, it's a good question, Ashley. I mean, it's one that I feel like a lot of people are asking these days. This comes up a lot that I see. So, yeah, I'm more of your line of thinking. I would throw that money at your primary home, pay it off, and then make it a goal for you guys to buy an investment property, which may be tough in Los Angeles to do it with cash, but that's how we recommend doing it.
Right.
How much do you guys make a year?
So combined income is just about $225,000.
Okay. And
go ahead.
Well, what do you guys do for a living?
So I'm in real estate, so that's why I love taking those commission checks and throwing them at our mortgage, and just pretty much living off of his income, which he's in law enforcement.
What does he make of the $250,000?
About $150,000 to $175,000.
Okay, so if you throw $100,000 a year at this plus the $150,000, you're done in 3 years.
Okay.
How old are y'all?
38.
Yeah. So you're a whole 41 years old. You own a house at that point that's worth $1.5 million to $2 million. And it's completely paid for, and you make $250,000 a year. That sets you up to build a lot of wealth in the future. And if you go put $150,000 down on a $600,000 or $700,000 rental property, it'll barely cash flow. Barely cash flow.
Right.
And so there's no blessing there. So the answer to the question is not real estate or what can you do or that. The answer the lens to look at it is, okay, what gets us when we're 50 to the highest net worth? Which method? Right. Which method? And I can promise you the method that does that is paying off your mortgage first and then paying cash for your first rental property. And you can do all of that before you're 50.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's still this myth out there, Ashley, with real estate and investment real estate. I see it everywhere. It's just like, it feels higher than it has in a long time of people wanting to get in and do stuff. And because there's kind of this mentality of like, oh my gosh, how great. It's kind of fun. And like we have this other property and we get rental income and it feels like this cool thing to do. But in reality, it's a side business. I mean, you're going to be dealing with tenants. Right. And on top of that, the money never ends up being what people think it is, with the headache and everything. Like what you guys end up after fixing stuff in the house, paying the mortgage because you're taking mortgage out on it. If the rent isn't paid, I mean, there's just so much that goes into it that's not as glamorous as it seems. And it's great. We love real estate. We are a real estate family. My husband does real estate. Dad, Dave, loves real estate. So it's not that we're against it. In fact, it's a wonderful thing, but you want to do it the right way. Because if you go into it like you guys are thinking, it doesn't end up being as wonderful and great as an Instagram reel makes it out to be that you see all the time.
Yeah, for real. Nothing ends up as great as an Instagram reel in reality. So, but yeah, you're dealing, folks, with someone who doesn't know anything about real estate when they say things like, well, the tenant will pay the bill. That means you've never had a tenant. That's what that means. That means you've never had a hot water heater go out the same month that the tenant moved out and broke the contract. And you don't even know where they are. They just left. Oh, and this was in a nice house, not a junky house. And they trashed it the same month. So I'm putting in heat and air. I'm having to paint it because these morons spray painted the wall. For some reason, they decided to do this as they broke the contract and left and disappeared in the middle of the night. And now I got no payment coming in. I got a lot of money going out. This is landlording. This is landlording right here. Now, can you make money net of all of that? Yeah, because you put a tenant back in, you're going to get rent, and you don't have any payments. If you don't have any payments. But if you got put down $150,000, you have lost your hiney under the thing I just described. You'll look back there, and it's gone. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dr. John Deloney here. I'm a huge fan of both meditation and prayer. And good mental health includes slowing down, gaining control of your thoughts, and plugging into something bigger than you. And Hallow makes it easy to start a daily practice of meditation, prayer, and finding peace. Hallow is the #1 Bible app in the world, and you can tailor content towards your faith tradition. From scripture readings and prayers to meditation and journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice prayer, meditate, and build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life and rediscover true peace. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today to get 3 months of Hallow for free. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today as we take your questions at 888-825-5225. Our question of the day is brought to you by Neighborly, your hub for home services. Don't wait until the AC or something else goes out. Neighborly helps you find local providers like AirServe, Mr. Appliance, Dryer Vent Wizard, and Precision Door Service. Go to neighborly.com. Great company. They'll help you out.
Yeah, so today's question comes from Jeremy in Pennsylvania. I am doing a will. I'm 55 years old and have a wife and 2 adult children. I'm split between leaving everything to my wife or going ahead and leaving things to my kids as well. There are certain things I want my kids to have, but I don't want my wife to think that I don't trust her to carry out my wishes if I precede her. Is it weird not to leave everything to my wife? I mean, not necessarily. It is her money too, though. I mean, like, it's not just your money and your stuff. It's you guys together. But I think if you were to say, hey, when I, if I pass away, what would you how much, what does it look like for your life? This is you talking to your wife of what do things look like for you? What will you have? Will you be taken care of? Making sure she's your priority first because your adult children are second in that. And then if everything is fine and good, like I'm okay with you saying, okay, do we want to leave them, X amount and X amounts? But all of that is communicated with her because this is her money too. That's what I would say.
There's 2 things built into your question that are disturbing. The way you state this is almost like there's a possibility this is your second wife and these kids aren't hers.
Oh.
And if that's the case, then, then you've got to have this discussion and go, I am going to leave you this amount to take care of you and this amount for them because I want to do that. If that's the case. If not, the other thing that may be hidden in here is there's like some reason that
Trust
you feel
issue.
like she's not going to do this. Mm-hmm. Like she's been irresponsible or you all haven't been unified in your decision making on money. And so you have a reason to kind of worry that she's not going to follow through on your wishes. If that's the case, then that's another issue. That's different than a will. That's a marriage issue, a trust issue that you've got to get into.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so that's 2 possibilities. I mean, the third possibility is as simple as these are her kids, your kids, and you can do whatever you want to do with your money, but it's also hers, as Rachel stated. So we ought to talk about this and just figure it out together. What is your motivation on that? And primary is that she's taken care of. If you don't leave her enough to have a wonderful life, because you gave too much to your kids, your grown kids.
Strange.
I would not agree with that.
Yeah.
Your primary responsibility is to her.
Okay, so what I just thought of this question as we were talking this out. If you did have a second marriage and all grown kids, or even I'd say grown kids.
He said adult children.
Yeah, what is the responsibility if someone is bringing in money to a marriage and they are one now, but she has 4 adult kids and he has 2, and they're later in life. You know what I mean? Like, does he have responsibility to leave money to those 4 kids, or it's going to be left to her? So she's probably going to, you know what I mean? Like,
gets really complicated.
Yeah.
Because, second marriage could be 25 years long. It could be longer than the first.
Yep.
And wouldn't be that unusual. So the grown kids are all okay, and he wants first to make sure his new wife is taken care of. That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be bad.
Sure.
So you just got to think that through. But there's no inherent entitlement that these grown kids are adult children are entitled, morally, ethically, spiritually, none of that. It's not unusual in a situation with a stepmom, as an example, for the adult kids to resent her getting anything. And that's a sense of entitlement.
Yep.
That is wrong.
Yep.
That sense of entitlement is wrong. But so, like, I've got a wealthy friend who's in his 70s, got remarried, recently. And I don't know what his estate plan is, but his grown kids are perfectly functional.
Yep.
They don't need anything.
Yep.
So, were I in his situation, I will make sure she's taken care of, and I want to leave some to them.
Yep.
And he's got the ability to do both in that case. So, but what's primary? I think your spouse is probably going to be primary even then.
Yep.
If you had to look at it.
But do you think the stepkids are entitled to?
Yeah. Not necessarily, no.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost prenup stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the complications of yours, mine, and ours. And it requires even that much more constant communication and discussion about the estate plan. So like your brother and your husband are in an estate planning meeting with me and your mom tomorrow. And Winston is not in my bloodline, but he's married to you and handles a lot of our real estate. And so, we're going to be there tomorrow talking through, some changes, what we're doing, but, what's that look like? Everybody's got to be in it, Everybody's got to know what's going on.
Am I getting cut out of the will, Dave?
No, not getting cut out of the will. Really, changes. It's so freaking complicated. We have to review it ever so often.
Yeah, no, totally.
Just to make sure we remember what we said we were doing. And
I think that's another piece to this too that I think is important. Another element is as an adult child, right? As we all are, but that's why doing this in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s is setting your own family up, right? Regardless of where your parents dependent upon your parents or any messiness that comes out of wills and all of this, like that you are in a position that you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And
any of that's just gravy.
Yes.
Yeah, just gravy on the biscuit. That's exactly right. And then the second thing that comes out of, or another point that comes out of this discussion is, A, you need a will.
Yes.
Everybody does. And 78% of Americans die without a will. Stupid. It's just stupid. Get your will done. Go to mamabearlegalforms.com. Get your will done. The second thing is tell everybody what's going to happen. Like if you've got stepchildren, we're talking about her kids, and she did not bring wealth into the marriage, or she did, and they're going to get hers, but they're not going to get yours, tell them.
Yep.
Tell them. So, or tell them, tell your kids, I'm going to take care of my new wife with this, and whatever's left over, you're going to get. And so they don't go, well, I'm getting, Go ahead and get all that out of the way. Let's just tell everybody where it is. Go ahead and have a reading of the will. And if somebody's going to be pissed off, let them do it while you're alive.
Yep.
And
another question we get all the time is, how do I help my parents talk about this stuff? How do I get my parents to do a will? How do I start these kind of conversations because of importance? So if you are in that situation, that was in one of my FPU classes when I coordinated it. We're done now, but one of the questions that came through was a lady.
Weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a lady that she said that she was like, my husband's parents told him that he's going to have to be the executor of everything, but he didn't know what's in it. And he didn't, and so I'm like sitting down and saying, hey, we want this communicated really clearly so that your wishes are granted and your legacy, how you want it, is to be, to be on. So that's a reason to get it.
I refuse to be the executor of something, and I don't know what it is. Yeah. That's asinine. It's a secret, but we want you to be in charge of the secret. No, not a chance. Not signing up for your toxic BS. No, thank you. And that's exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
So, no, we're not doing that. We're going to sit down. Everybody's going to know. We're all going to talk about it, and then I can execute. I don't care if I get any money. I'm not after the money. I just want to help you execute your wishes. That's what the executor does, is execute your wishes.
It's like the end of
execute your secrets and your toxic BS, not a chance. Not doing that.
There's a great line at the end of a Taylor Swift song, Anti-Hero.
What's the line?
Where they're all... She says, I had a dream. Well, I don't know if you have time to quote the whole thing, but she had a dream that her stepdaughter married for the money, and then found out she wasn't in the will, and they all said, she's looking up from us from hell, smiling.
I can't even, you can't finish it for laughing. This is the Ramsey Show.
It's so good.
Rachel Cruz, Ramsey personality, Taylor Swift song quoter is
I butchered it too.
co-host today. You giggled all the way through it. Nobody knew what you said.
I had a dream. My daughter-in-law kills me for the money. She thinks I left them in the will, is it? And then they all have the reading, and they realize, they're not in it. And then the last line is, they're all screaming. She's laughing up at us from...
hell.
Can I say that?
Yes.
Oh.
I guess.
From hell.
We don't get fined for hell.
I don't know.
No.
I mean...
As far as I know. Yeah. All right.
Remember when you thought asinine was a cuss word?
Yeah, well, there's that. Michelle is in Rochester, New York. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my husband and I are trying to decide if we should move in with our mother-in-law. We are going to be seniors in college. We've been married 2 years now. And there's two main reasons why we would move. The first is we would save money. Probably we'd still pay her rent, but we'd probably save $400 a month. And the second reason is because she's a single mom and her son is moving out to get married. So now she'll be in the house alone, and she doesn't like to be alone.
Is her son your husband? The one that's getting married?
No.
What?
It's my husband's twin brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Michelle, a reason to move in with an in-law under the motivation because she doesn't like to be alone, that starts to really entangle a relationship because it sounds like you're being kind, but it actually ends up being extremely dysfunctional, that she's depending it upon you guys.
If the only way she's not alone is her grown children stay home with her, that's dysfunctional. I'll just say it that way.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm sorry. This lady, it's a normal thing to cry when your grown kids leave and cheer 20 minutes later. It's a normal thing to do that. You do both, okay? And to just cry, and I don't want to, she needs to have a life outside of her children.
Okay, I will say she is very self-sufficient. She still works full-time.
No, she's not.
Not emotionally.
It's not that it was just sort of an idea that was brought up, and we would only live with her for a year, and she knows that. And she also, I don't know, it's I guess in the situation it's hard to describe, but I'm not as much concerned about because we've talked about not moving in, and she would just go on with life. It's not like a necessitated thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to be better for y'all and her emotionally and relationally. But that's not a psychologist or a therapist speaking or a pastor speaking. That's just an old man telling you.
Okay.
You do whatever you want to do.
And do you guys, is there a reason, you said you're going to save $400?
Yeah, but they're juniors in college, you said, right?
We'll be seniors this year.
Yeah,
coming up.
Yeah, but the twin brother and his new wife aren't staying.
Well, they're living in the new wife's in-law apartment with her parents. So they sort of have their own situation. We had just talked about it, because it was our last year of college, it might be nice to save money and take some of the strain off of ourselves.
If you want to do it, it's fine.
And
it's the way you presented it sounded weird.
Okay.
Sorry,
so
that was.
I guess
you didn't. It's not that it sounded weird. It just that our answer changes, or I'll say my answer is more cautious for you, Michelle, because of the end of that. It's not that we're doing this for a financial goal, because some people do that, right? I mean, we talk to people a lot that they're like, hey, we're going to make this move because we have this goal, and then we're going to be out. There's a date. It's very specific, all of that. I'm not completely against that. It was the last part when you said, and because she doesn't like to be alone. That's where my flag went up, just for you, Michelle, like woman to woman.
No, it goes up for her. It goes up for your husband, too.
Yeah.
That's what's weird. I mean, that is weird.
So if that part wasn't the end of it, though, and if your only question was, hey, it's our last year of college, and we're able to save some money if we do this, what do you guys think about that? If that was it, I would say...
And you're all in.
Yeah, and I would say, if that's what you guys choose to do, but I would have an end date. I would not be living with my in-laws over a long, extended period of time as young newlyweds. I think you guys figuring out life, just you guys together, is really healthy. I would prefer that you didn't. I think you guys just figuring out life together is great. But if you wanted to and had an end date and all of that, it could be an option. It won't destroy, but it's that other part of the question that I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, just don't, what I heard was just codependence, and I don't recommend that for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's not an end to that. That neediness is not something that needs to be fed. It needs to be healed. And that's all I was saying. That's just old man talking. So it's not, there's no professional quote guidance there. You called us and asked our opinion. So, and I don't think she's a bad lady. I think she's just normal. It's normal. She's got two twin boys. They're the last two to leave.
Yeah.
And
sobbing my eyes out when little
and
Charles
she's
marries.
a single mom, and they've been her world, and that's a normal grieving of that.
Yes.
But it's also a release that, and she doesn't have a choice. She's got to move on with the next chapter of her life, and you guys can't run over there every time she's lonely.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I said our piece. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Janice is with us. Janice is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Janice. How are you?
Hi. I'm scared to death.
Why? What are you scared of?
Well, I'm going to be 63 in a couple of weeks. I have no retirement. I'm still working.
Mm-hmm.
Made some very poor decisions with money over my life.
Mm-hmm.
Raised up in a Christian home, but the only scripture I remember about money was the one that says, don't store up for yourselves, things that would,
be poor. Yeah, I got you. I remember that scripture.
Yeah, and I never really learned money management from my parents. They were poor. And
before I run tight on time, how can we help you, hon?
Well, I've got $300 in my emergency fund so far, and I want to get started.
What do you make?
I'm afraid what do I make?
Mm-hmm.
I bring home about $3,000 a month.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right. And you have no money. How much debt do you have?
I have a $20,000 car.
Mm-hmm.
I have a $10,000 credit card, a $4,000 credit card, a $1,200 credit card, and a $3,000 personal loan at the bank.
Yeah. Well, there's
a
reasonable reasons to be scared, not terrorized, but scared, because this is an unhealthy situation, and
Yeah.
you're recognizing I have to address it. And so
Yeah.
I would let that. If fear tells me to not touch a hot stove or get out of the road, a car's coming, that's good fear.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be debilitating fear that keeps you up at night, causes you to have to take anxiety medicine. That's not what I'm talking about. But, I mean, if fear tells you to get out of the road, you're getting ready to get hit by a car, that's good fear. So, and that's kind of where you are. You got a mess, and you're going, I got to deal with this. So what we'll do is we'll help you, okay? We'll walk with you. It's not going to be easy. You're going to get your income up. You're probably going to sell this car, and you're going to do some difficult things. But we'll show you how in Financial Peace University. It's our 9-week class. You'll have people around you that are holding you accountable and encouraging you because you're scared. And you need some encouragement. And
we'll gift that to you, Jana, so stay on the line.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to charge you for it.
We'll pick up and do that for you.
Be completely free for you. Yeah, and the thing is this: be afraid enough to do something, but not so afraid that you're frozen. So get out of the road. Don't freeze in the headlights, and we'll walk you out of the road and get you to the sidewalk, and then walk you to Uptown.
Yep.
So.
And the good thing about this too, Janice, is that there's going to be a lot of quick progress in this that you're going to see. And because of all these debts, there's a lot of them, so it feels overwhelming even as you listed it. But you're going to start with the debt snowball. You're going to start knocking this stuff out. And it's going to take some years. You know, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. But continuing to make those decisions day in and day out, you're going to see progress, Janice. You really will, probably for the first time in your life, actually get traction the right way.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. We'll help you.
Hey, it's Rachel Cruz. If you love this show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Just go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey personality, my daughter, #1 best-selling author, and co-host of Smart Money Happy Hour on the Ramsey Networks, a very popular, fun, and funny podcast with George Camel is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Nicholas is in St. Louis. Hi, Nicholas. How are you?
I'm doing good. You?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Very good. Hi, yes. I just wanted to call in. So I wanted to get your opinion on a question I had. So we make about, my fiance and I, she's a stay-at-home mother. I work out of the house. I make about $50,000 a year. We have about $11,000 in car loan debt, about $9,000 in other debt like credit cards. And we have a baby. He's 8 months old, and we have another baby on the way.
When are you getting married?
At the beginning of next year. Yeah.
Why?
2024.
Why not,
why
not yesterday?
I think we're just nervous with the insurance, because right now she's getting insurance, a separate insurance than I am, and we're just kind of nervous there with how much it might cost us if she goes on our insurance.
Don't be nervous. Go find out.
Yeah, we haven't asked a whole lot of questions
in
regards to that. Yeah, we need to do that.
Well, you okay, go ahead. How can we help?
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So right now we're currently renting from her grandmother, and we started to look at some apartments locally today, the past couple weeks actually. And whenever her grandmother found out about this, she offered us the house that we're currently living in. It's worth $250,000 for $150,000. So she's offering it to us for $100,000 less than the market value. And I'm just curious if we should take that offer, and what would be the best approach to that.
No. You should not buy houses with people that you're not married to under any circumstances.
Okay. Okay. This would be like later on, middle of next year, I would say.
Why?
Yeah. Why? Saving up for a down payment.
Okay. So here's what I would do. Okay.
Yes.
In terms of the structure of that deal, I would offer to rent it from her for 3 years with an option to purchase it for $150,000 in writing. In writing.
In writing. Okay.
So if she dies, your crazy uncle doesn't try to undo the deal.
That makes sense.
How did I know you had a crazy uncle? But anyway, yeah. So, but you see what I'm saying? So yeah, in writing, and then you go get married, get yourself out of debt, get an emergency fund in place, go check the insurance this week, quit using that as an excuse with a baby on the way.
Okay.
And let's find out what's going on. I want you to be responsible, and if the insurance gives you really crazy news and you stick with your plan, fine. But you need to be making major life decisions from facts, not feelings.
That makes sense.
So go get the facts.
Yeah.
Decide when we're getting married. Sooner rather than later is better for the kids, for the finances, for everything. Then we lean in, knock out the debt, build an emergency fund, build a down payment, and then we execute on the option, meaning we go ahead and purchase this wonderful deal. I assume your soon-to-be wife wants to live in this house.
Yes, yeah, this has been her dream for a long time.
It's her grandmother, is that right?
Yeah,
Nicholas.
Yeah, it's her grandmother. So
I
she
thought it was
grew
yours.
up in this house.
Oh, so it's not your crazy uncle; it's her crazy uncle.
It's her crazy uncle. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, in writing, and if you want to get real thorough, you would record the option at the courthouse.
Okay.
Which keeps title from being transferred.
Okay.
Because you now have a cloud on the title. They have to talk to you first. That's a very thorough way. I don't know if I'd go quite that far, but it's not the end of the world to do that. That would be a very professional business way to transact this.
Yep.
But yeah, don't close on this house while you're broke, single, engaged, kids.
That's what I was going to say. Just make sure you do this in order, Nicholas. You guys, you're getting married, paying off debt, pay off your own debt in the process as of now. Work on that. And then once you guys have savings, you're married, everything, then, purchase the home. I think it's great. And, man, I would, it makes things a lot less complicated in many regards. If you guys know you're together, if you know that she's the one, to get married. And obviously she's expecting, so you don't want to, I understand not wanting to mess with insurance, but, be looking.
Aside from Nicholas, this is just interesting, and it's good for me to point this out. Dr. John Deloney and I were talking about this on the air the other day here on this show. Now today, more people live together that aren't married than are married in America. And so we've had this demographic shift on this issue. Professor Bill Galston, President Clinton's domestic policy advisor, a senior fellow at Brookings Institute, explained the interesting poverty statistics. If you graduate from high school, marry before having a child, and have a child after age 20, only 8% of the people who do those three things will end up being poor, while 79% who fail to do those three things end up being poor, statistically. Wow. Same thing. 97% of millennials who follow the success sequence, different piece of research. Here's the success sequence. First, earn at least a high school diploma. 2, get a job and work. 3, get married before having children. Will not be poor as they enter their mid-30s. 97% of the people who follow that will not be poor as they enter into their mid-30s. And so the success sequence, doing things in order, you said,
right.
That's what popped this research into my mind.
Yep.
It sounds like it's old-fashioned values or moralistic Bible thumping or something like that. But there's data that says that people that don't do things in the right order have a bigger struggle.
Yeah.
97% of those who follow the success sequence will not be in poverty in their 30s. Wow. Let me tell you what it was again. At least a high school diploma, get a job, marry before having kids. That's the success sequence. The other piece was marry before having a child, graduate from high school, and have a child after age 20. Only 8% of the people who do so will be poor. 79% who fail to do those three will be poor. 8 out of 10. So, I mean, so coach yourself up, coach your kids up, coach your niece and nephew up, whatever it is. This stuff matters because it has consequences all through. These are not standalone, compartmentalized decisions. They affect your money, they affect your career, they affect your health, they affect everything. There's a reason for this stuff. This is The Ramsey Show. Well, you've all played the telephone game. The first person whispers a message to the second person, who whispers it to the third, and so on around the table until the original message has completely changed. Multiply that confusion by 100 if you run a business with different software systems that don't talk to each other. That's why there's NetSuite by Oracle. In the early days of Ramsey, we were using different systems for all of our business units. We needed one single source for accurate data. NetSuite was the software we used to optimize and take us to the next level. NetSuite gave us the visibility into all of our numbers so that we could communicate across departments and plan ahead better. And as we grew, it scaled with us. NetSuite worked for Ramsey, and it will make a difference for your business too. Join the more than 34,000 customers who trust NetSuite to help make them smarter and make better decisions and level up their operations. To learn more, get a free product tour at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today, and one of our favorite people in the world dropped by to hang out for a couple of segments. Dr. Meg Meeker, author of the book Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, is where I met you many, many years ago. That book was a huge bestseller, and we told all of America about it and made sure it continued to be a huge bestseller because I just love the concept of how important dads are in a culture where dads are not respected anymore, and it's getting weirder and weirder and all this kind of stuff. So she's going to hang out with us here. All kinds of fun stuff going on in the whole fatherhood space, isn't there, Meg?
Well, there is. And a lot of things are changing and shifting. And that's why I'm really gearing up. I'm serious now about helping dads because no one else is doing it. And I really believe we're coming into what I call the new era of fatherhood. And I'm writing about that. We've had a convergence of three things. Dads have been gutted. And I'm done with that. Depression and anxiety in kids is skyrocketing, and I see that. And then finally, kids are getting bombarded with insane messages, and they're being hurt. They're so confused. Even the Surgeon General finally came out and said, "Oh, guess what, people? Social media is bad for kids."
Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? And so I'm a strong believer that dads are the answer to so many of these things, but they don't know it. So that's
when you say, for somebody we've got a huge segment of our audience is brand new in the last few months. When you say fatherhood or dads have been gutted, that was your first point. Talk about what you mean by that.
Oh, sure. And I have seen it, and you probably have too, with the rise of feminism. We said women are important, push men aside, and then we said women can do it all, push them farther aside. And then we finally got to a point, it's like, we don't even need dads to have children. We've sort of pushed them away. We have taught dads they're not necessary. We've taught them that we don't need them financially. We've taught them that moms parents can meet all of their kids' needs. And now what we've seen is fathers have left, and now we're seeing men in general just being bashed to pieces. If I hear, white supremacy and all this, anti-masculine talk, and men feel it and know it, and I think it's really time to say, enough is enough. Because what I see in kids is I see the way kids see their dads. And if dads could see themselves the way their kids see them, they'd realize that kids look at their dads and see pure gold in there, and they want it. And dads have no idea.
That's powerful because they do. They play such a role. As a mom, I play, I have a voice in my kid's life that's different than Winston's. And Winston has a voice in our kid's life that is different. So talk about, what is that for a dad that feels like, oh my gosh, I'm working 70 hours a week. I'm exhausted. My kids are in 2 sports. We're running, we're gunning, we're doing this life. Just to the average dad out there, like what kind of encouragement when you say like your kids, when they look at their dads, they see gold. Yeah. What are things that are just like tactically that you're like, yeah, the average dad out there that's doing life and trying to be great, right? Like, I mean, like that there's not
working really hard.
Yeah.
And everybody's telling them they're not. Yeah.
Exactly. Everyone's telling them they're not, doing a good job. Well, I work with a lot of, intense men, high-powered, driven. And what I tell them about is there are basically three things your kids need: affection, attention, and affirmation, and acceptance as well. But they need touchdown moments. They don't need to spend long chunks of time with their kids, but focusing on their kids and giving them attention here and there. Bedtime, you walk in a room, put your phone down. You know how much more attention you could give your kids if you just put your phone down?
Yes.
Spend a lot of time on emails. And when you see your kids, touch them, hug them, look at them in the face. And when you see them do something great character, when you see good character, affirm that. And so you can fit all of these things in and around a very busy schedule and get your kids to where you want them to be.
So what's the best way when it comes to engaging your kids? How much do you lean on, I'm getting really tactical here, Meg, but like how much do you lean on like actually physically playing? How much of it is sitting down and being like, I just want to hear how you are?
Exactly.
And emotionally attaching to your kids? Yeah. Because I feel like that's a real big part. That's something even Winston and I talk about a lot with our 3 little ones is like, he's such a great dad, but he's like, I just want to know. I want to know who they are, where they're at, and talk to them. Talk to them, and they will tell you stuff. You know what I mean? Even at 5 years old, like they will talk. So how important is the run and gun, the fun, and also balance with like, I actually want to know what's going on inside of you and where you're at and be there with you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it depends on the age of a child. An 8-year-old can't look at you and tell you how they feel. They can't articulate, and they don't even know how they feel. But this is something you could do. You're sitting in the kitchen, your child's sitting in the kitchen doing their homework, you're in the living room, and you say, hey, come here. Just for 10 minutes, take a break. I just haven't talked to you all week. How are things? Just ask them some simple questions. Let them answer. Don't say a word. And then they'll go back to what they're doing. Let your kids know you like their company, and they'll talk. If you're going on a Saturday morning to change the oil in your car, ask them to go along. If you go to the grocery store, ask them to just come and just say, I just want to talk to you. And it's in those moments that you hear from them and you figure out what they're thinking and feeling.
So is the antithesis of that what has caused this rates of depression and anxiety to skyrocket?
Yes.
There's disconnect.
And here's what's happening. It's kind of like a perfect storm. Families are living as autonomous beings under the same roof. Kids live in a very separate world from their parents. They do things on the internet, social media, their parents have no idea about. Their parents are on their screens doing their things. And there's really no connection there because kids have learned to interact with people socially very differently than you and I did. And the way they've been taught to interact is not real. It's not satisfying. They're lonely. And that's why depression is going up, because there's no sitting down, talking with dad, looking him in the eye, having dinner and saying, how's that buddy of yours at school that was doing so badly? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so net, Facebook friends aren't real friends.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Dr. Meg Meeker is our guest this hour. She's been a frequent appearance on the SMART conference with us over the years. New York Times bestseller many times over. Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters was one of those. Currently, the New Era of Fatherhood video course is available now at meekerparenting.com. Meeker, Meeker, parenting.com. You can also check out live coaching calls for dads there. And on June 22nd, there's a free live coaching webinar. Talk about that.
Oh, that's going to be fun. It talks about how your childhood affects your being a dad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
You say, oh, yeah. But it's absolutely true, because what you learned as a kid, what you experienced as a boy.
Or didn't.
Exactly. Carries into how you parent. In a way, it drives your parenting. But dads don't know that. If they had a bad relationship with mom, they have a hard time being close to their daughter, showing affection. And they know they want to, but they don't know why they want to. A lot of things they want to do in parenting, and they don't know why they can't. So let's rewind a little bit. So I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be taking calls, and I'm really excited about the live coaching that I'm going to be doing for dads on an ongoing basis to groups.
So good.
Yeah, and that's what I love. I love, being on Zoom calls with dads and just answering questions.
Can you stay one more segment?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep talking about this. I want to hear about this 4 things any father can do to make dramatic changes in their child's life. From probably the world's leading expert on that subject sitting here with us. You don't want to miss this. This is real stuff right here on The Ramsey Show.
Hey guys, being free to make your own medical decisions is a big deal these days. Christian Healthcare Ministries gives members the freedom to choose the doctors and providers they want, without the frustration of worrying about networks and with no waiting period to join. It's a membership-based nonprofit ministry where hundreds of thousands of Christians share funds to pay for and pray for each other's medical bills. For over 40 years, CHM has helped families living across all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Check out more today at chministries.org/budget.
Dr. Meg Meeker, the website is meekerparenting.com, author of the book Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, talking about how dad's presence and dad's engagement, all the things that it does. The fatherhood crisis that we have can be tied to a lot of societal crises as well in America. And it's not just a physical absence and not just a divorce. It's not that. It's this devaluing of the position of fatherhood that you've been so concerned about over the whole years that we've known you. I mean, well, you and I have been doing this together like 20 years, I think now. And so live coaching calls with dads at meekerparenting.com, available June 22nd. Just a few days away, there'll be a free, 1 week away, there'll be a free live coaching webinar, how your experiences as a son drive your parenting as a dad. And meekerparenting.com, the New Era of Fatherhood video course available now. Pick up that book, and the latest version of that you did was Hero Dad. Is that what it's called?
Yes,
Hero
and you
Dad?
wrote the introduction.
Yeah. And I did write the intro.
You did.
Or the forward, or whatever you call it. I think. Yeah. I don't know what you call it, but yeah. Because I just from the very first time I read Strong Fathers, and that's got to be 20 years ago, my daughters were already grown, but I started recognizing immediately what you were saying there, that the statistics of a confident woman being associated with having a strong relationship with her dad, a competent grown woman, completing education, completing tasks, entering into a successful marriage and all that, had a strong connection, a strong relationship with her dad. And it just started building value in fatherhood like no one I had ever seen you. You were the first one I ever saw do that.
Thanks. Well, one of the things that I do is I take fathers behind their kids' eyes. So I help them see themselves as their kids see them. And that's very different. You know, there are a lot of people writing and saying, do this, do this, do this. But I believe once you understand how your kids see you, parenting is a lot different. It's more challenging, but it's simple. But any dad can do it. Because once a dad realizes that their kid sees them as bigger than life, like I said, the man who has pure gold that they need and they want to extract a little piece here and there, it's transformative. And that's what I'm really committing the next segment of my professional life is in teaching, encouraging, inspiring dads how to be to their kids who their kids want them to be. Wouldn't you have loved it if somebody came along, Dave, and said to your mom and dad, this is how Dave sees you and this is what he wants for you? He wants from you? I mean, it would be wonderful, you know, because then they would just hopefully deliver what you needed.
Yeah, it's a different thing. Okay, doing 4 things any father can make dramatic changes in their kid's life regardless of the kid's age. What are the 4 things, and is that really true?
Of course it's true. I wouldn't have written it. Is that a trick question? One of the things that I've done as a physician is I research the heck out of everything I write because we're under a lot of scrutiny. And they're very politically incorrect, which I love. The first one is you need to lead. You need to be the leader. And a lot of mothers, a lot of women in homes hate that because to them, the word leadership connotes, I'm just going to steamroll over you. No. Leading your kids well means being that great example of how to control yourself, how to be kind, how to make hard decisions, how to make life at home make sense, how to help their kids when they're faced with tough decisions like, you know, the whole gender identity, the sexuality thing. Dads are the ones who really make that, who really influence their daughters in having a healthy sexuality and gender. The other one is to be the stabilizer in the home. We never talk about that. Dads are the ones who can walk into chaos and they can diffuse the volatility. They cause everybody to pause, and then they regroup and finish the lesson. I'll never forget, Dave, one of the things that you told me that I thought was amazing, and you can corroborate this or not, Rachel, is that whenever
you... tell if I was lying when I told you.
Is that whenever you had, you know, you had to reprimand your kids and they cry, you go back into their room and you'd bring them a wet washcloth.
Yes. Reconciliation, yep.
That's stabilizing. You go into a situation which is volatile, uncomfortable, then you take a pause, she goes to bed, and then you regroup and you close the problem. And so many dads don't know how to do that. And that's how you stabilize a family.
So lead, stabilize. Number 3 is?
Engage. And a lot of dads don't know how to engage. And so I walk them through that. And by the way, this course is easy, simple. It's all videos, 10 minutes long. Do this, and you're home free. Do this. And then the last one is to remain tenderhearted. And again, these, if you can even get 2 of these right, you're almost home free because this is what your kids need. And you begin to deliver that to kids, particularly in this day and age when kids don't know how to have healthy communication, healthy relationships, because they're on social media all the time, and they believe healthy relationships are done over text or through social media, and
or likes or follows.
It's likes or follows, and it leaves them so empty. So that's why I believe if we can encourage and teach dads just to move in a little bit, they're home free. Their kids will succeed. It's simple. It's not that hard. Any dad can do it. And that's why I'm going to be starting live coaching calls with dads where I talk about a topic and then I answer questions, and I love it.
So good. So Meg, what would you say to the dad that says, yeah, well, my teenager, whenever I do try to engage or move forward, they walk away, they reject, they don't want, it's like they don't want any part.
Yeah, and they're a teenager.
They're a teenager.
But that doesn't mean that they really don't want you.
No.
And that's...
Here's the thing. The snarkier the teenager, the more they're screaming, Dad, Dad,
Yes,
Dad, please come near.
Yep.
Here's the problem. Dads are sensitive. And when their teenage daughter looks at them like, get away, you creepy person, dads take it personally. It's not about dads.
Yep.
It's about the kid feeling so badly about themselves. That's the perfect opportunity for a dad to gently move and ask questions, sit and listen, and you'll be amazed how much closer you get to your daughter.
It's great.
One of the pieces of research I read on this 35 years ago, probably, Rachel was a baby, was we were working with teenagers at the church, and there was a guy named Josh McDowell was doing a bunch of writing on it, and he said, be sure to teach your dads as your daughters move into teenage years, you will either give them hugs or someone else will.
Exactly.
They're going to fill the void.
Yeah. And that's exactly why they need that attention, eye to eye. They need affection. Hug them, touch them. But that's just when dads pull away because they become afraid of their teenage girls. How many times do you hear somebody say, oh, the teenage years, it's going to be terrible. Don't say that. The teenage years can be some of the most fun.
Yep.
And just to affirm good character, treat your kids as though they're the person you want them to be.
It's good, Meg.
If you want them to have integrity, say, I am so proud of the integrity you showed here. I'm so proud of the courage you showed here. Don't affirm, all their sports and that kind of stuff. Affirm great character. They will grow up to be that person.
It's really good. Really good.
Yeah, celebrate that. And celebrating that. We had the opportunity this last weekend with everybody together, the whole family. 7 grandkids, 15 dogs. It felt like there were only 4, but they were everywhere. And, and food flying everywhere. It was a wild thing. But, we get the opportunity to stop and celebrate. One of Rachel's just won coolest camper at the VBS thing. And so we're like, hey, let's watch the video of her getting that. And everybody gathered around. Her little chest was sticking out. It was so cool.
You bet. Because you're there to clap for her and say, you go, girl.
Yep.
You can be this strong woman. And strength looks like this.
And that award was based on character.
Exactly.
Not getting an A or scoring a goal.
Or being the, that said kids
Meg Meeker, you're amazing. Amazing. So again, you guys, meekerparenting.com for all resources. Thanks, Meg.
Thank you.
We love you, Meg. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Our scripture of the day, 1 John 3:17, but if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? Audrey Hepburn said, giving is living. If you stop wanting to give, there's nothing more to live for. Very cool. Hey, folks, finding a high-quality real estate agent can be tough. It can even be tougher when you're trying to find one in another city or even another state. If you're relocating, you already got your hands full. You need a pro in your corner, and we, for years, have vetted our endorsed local providers, our ELPs, and they're high-performing, really strong, excellent real estate agents. We call them Ramsey trusted because our team trusts them. Yeah, they're trusted. People trust them. Get it? Ramsey Trusted. Yeah. They're all over the U.S., and no matter where you are or where you're going, they're the top in the business, and they're going to take great care of you. They didn't get their license last week, and they're not your Uncle Charlie or some doofus at the church. They're really people that know things going on in the real estate business. They've got a proven track record of selling and helping people buy bunches and bunches and bunches of houses over a long period of time. RamseySolutions.com/agents. RamseySolutions.com/agents. Alex is with us in Chicago. Hey, Alex, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Ramsey, how are you doing?
Great, man. How can we help?
So I'm in a little situation in which I was hoping to get both your opinions on. I'm currently 22 years old. I work full-time as a data scientist. I own a business, and I'm currently getting my master's degree in computer science. And the situation I'm in right now is I'm unable to have full capacity in each three of those things in my graduate program, in my work, and in my business. With that in mind, I kind of want to drop one of those or two of those and focus on the other two full-time so I could fully reach my full potential, either my job or my graduate school or my business. With that in mind, I was wondering which of those three you think I should drop.
How much are you making in your business, the business that you own?
So we recently started making profit. We're currently profiting about $20,000 to $27,000 a month. Divide that by two because I have a partner.
Okay.
So I'm making about 10 to 13.5 a month.
And how much are you making in your full-time job?
70,000 plus 10K bonus.
Okay.
A year.
A year, yeah.
And you're making 130,000 on your business. Twice that.
Yeah, a little over. Yeah. And so the thing is like it's a new business, so it's still a little shaky right now. Like, if it hits the fan tomorrow, like the business could close and like.
Okay, when you're 32, 10 years from now, what is going to get you to where you want to be?
So, realistically speaking, by 30 or mid-30s, I kind of want to be financially free in a way in which I could do what I want without having to look at without having to pay my bills or worry to pay my bills.
Okay, I'm saying you obviously are in the computer world. You're obviously in the technology world. Yeah. A master's in information systems. Your side hustle is that, and your day job is that. So, what do you want to be doing when you're 32?
By 32, I really want to expand this business and kind of just be a full-time business owner.
What is the business?
So the business is we consult companies on best ways to connect with gaming influencers, but we do that in a we're very heavy on data compared to our competitors, and that's what separates us.
Okay, you understand that won't be in existence when you're 32.
Oh, I did not think about that.
Yeah, 4 years ago that didn't exist.
Right.
Don't you think? You're on the cutting edge of all these things. The rate of change. Now, are you going to be in information systems? Yeah, but is it going to be doing that? Oh, absolutely not. A decade ago, think about what we were barely getting, what we were.
There's a lot of opportunity coming up.
The rate of change in your world is blinding. Constant. So all you got to do is ride the wave of change and be owning something that is consulting something in that digital world. And I think you've got the brains to do it. After talking to you, you're obviously very bright.
Alex, for your graduate program, do you feel like your degree is going to significantly change your income, your opportunities?
In regards to day jobs, so in the world of data science, a lot of people in there that are in a really high position usually go to extremely well-known schools or have a master's degree in statistics, computer science, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So if I really want to ignore the business aside, just focusing on my job, it's best for me in the long run to get a master's degree.
Yeah, but you don't want to work for those companies. You want to own your own thing when you're 32. You said.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I guess like a job is like more of like a backup plan per se.
I mean, there's a lot of there's no real wrong answer here. You could dial all three back some and keep doing them all three. You could drop the day job pretty easy as long as you can keep the cash flowing on the side hustle and finish up your master's and then continue your entrepreneurial growth and your product lines are just going to iterate over a decade in your world. And I mean, data science has become front and center. Any company that is not concentrating on the management and analysis of data is going to be out of business in the next 5 years. It's too front and center to make all of your digital everything work. I mean, everything we do with YouTube, Google Analytics, all of our Spotify connections, everything, we're doing what you're doing there in the gaming world, but we're watching influencers and watching what our stuff does, what works and what doesn't. And then so we don't, it's not accidental. And so we've got data scientists in the building here that are helping us crunch those numbers and take us there. So
Alex, put him back on.
Oops, okay. All right.
How much do you have left in your graduate program?
So my graduate program finishes next August. The tuition is about $60,000, but I have money from the business purely set aside. My progress in the business so far is I set that aside to pay off my full tuition, but I'll graduate debt free. Okay,
so you have 1 more year left, basically, of school to get your master's.
And you're 22. Go finish it.
I would finish it, yeah. So I would focus on that. And honestly, Alex, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm like, your business is doing great. So I almost would put more time and effort into that. You're making more money there. And God forbid, everything hits the fan. Do you feel like you have enough connections and all of that to go get another job if you needed to, making 70?
In 20 minutes.
Well, I would say I assume yes. Would you say that's correct, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I networked heavy in my undergrad, so I could definitely find another job.
So so I almost would, I would finish the degree and work on your own business. And again, if something happens in 6, 9, 10 months and the business fails, you can go get another job. So yeah, that's where I lean, Alex. When you're asking if you should drop 1 or 2, which one would you drop? I would drop that one right now, but I would finish that degree because that's going to be even more marketable for you after you have that. If your business, something happens, you're going to have a master's.
I'm not even worried about using the master's to get the job. I think finishing the master's will put the tools in your belt that'll help you become the successful entrepreneur you want to be. Because I think you're actually learning things that are usable. They have utilitarian value. And so, I think it's good education. Mm-hmm. It's a good education in a good field, and I would lean into it. And
it's helpful in the job market, though, when you have that. You're more marketable with that, like he was saying. So
in that world, yes, he's right. In the data world, I don't disagree. But I don't think he's going to be working for a decade for someone else in a data science position. Yep. I think he's going to be doing other stuff.
Yep, it's great.
But anyway, I could be wrong. So, hey, good luck with that, brother. Thank you for calling in. Alex. I don't know that we're of any help at all, but we try. It's what we do. Good show, Rachel. Well done. Austin, Ben, James, Zach, Andrew, Will, everybody in there. Good work, good work. The Booth dudes are at it again. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, it's Rachel Cruz. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.